Hello and welcome back to my channel, Blessed Trim Ability. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. And we would love it if you like the channel, if you'd give us a thumbs up, if you consider subscribing, if it's something that you would like to be notified when we have new videos up. In this channel, we're talking about the Trim Healthy Mama lifestyle way of eating. We also focus on healthy habits, and we also focus on studying God's Word together. So let's get started. In my first video, I got on some rabbit trails and I was talking with Claire and she was talking about how she loved it when I got on rabbit trails. But some of the things that I meant to tell you that I forgot, I was talking about dairy free. And what I have figured out, I think if I follow Trim Healthy Mama religiously, try to stay on it just the best I can, but not do a lot of Franken foods like, the wheat the wheat tortillas, things like that, and try to stay away from heavy dairy, then I seem to do better. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I also, I didn't tell you what I prepped this week, which I had mentioned, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But and some people have said, what are some of your tips since you have, passed the coaching? And the best tip that I can give you is it's all up here. You have to say it's so. You have to make up in your mind, in your heart, that that's what you're going to do. You have to set your face like a flint and you're saying, this is what I want to do. And think about, why do you want to do it? Of course, we all have vain reasons. We want to be thinner, we want to be trim, we want to be pretty. But it is so much more healthy to eat this way and to follow this lifestyle because, like I mentioned before, I was pre-diabetic and it completely healed my blood sugar. And I had heard people talk about that they became diabetic and they were on insulin, how expensive it was, even with insurance. And it was like, I don't want to be there. And also, I think about my grandsons. I want to watch them grow up. And why do you want to do this? Figure out why you want to do it and then determine you're going to do it. Now, determination is good, but you clearly have to have a plan. So first of all, let's look at a little bit of the Thm Basics. And the best thing I can do tell you to do is get the Trim Healthy Mama plan book. That's what you need to get, because if you read through it, it explains the plan. And I remember when my friend Linnell told me about it, and she told me that some people at church had lost 50 pounds on it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this probably really will work. So I got the book and I started reading it. And I just told my daughter, I said, I can't do it. It's too hard. And she said, did you read it or did you skim it? So then I went back and I read it. And then I also got online and found other resources which would help me understand it. And once you get it, you get it. But until then, it takes a little practice. It takes some work. Some basics of it is what you're doing is you're separating your fuels. Your carbohydrates and your fats are separated. And you also want to make sure that you're eating healthy foods. You don't want to eat a lot of processed foods and things that naturally aren't good for you, but you know what they are? They're quick. And I understand that. I understand you're in different stages in your life. And sometimes you think, I can't do one more thing. I don't have time to plan. I don't have time to this or that. I'm covered up. I have kids. I have a husband. I have all this to do. The thing that I think, some tips that will help you with that is, well, first, let's go over some of the basics. You separate your fuels. You have S meals, which are satisfying meals, and they have the fat in them, the healthy fats. But you don't count how much fat's in it. You basically can have, all you want. But then you can have only up to 10 carbs in that fat meal. But it doesn't count the green leafy vegetables. You can have all the celery and lettuce and uh, the green leafies that you want, and that's a good way. You need to have vegetables in every meal. That will really best you can. Breakfast is hard sometimes. Then you have E meals, which are energizing meals, which they contain the healthy carbs, things like oatmeal, quinoa, just your basic grains and beans. You can have those in there. But on those, you should stay under 45 carbohydrates in those. And you cannot have more than 5 fat grams in that. But that's pretty easy. Lean chicken, the protein with that. But I need to go back and say that every meal is anchored in protein. You need to have protein with every meal because that's what stabilizes your blood sugar. There's also fuel pool meals, and those are snacks and meals, and they have their place, but you can't rely on them all the time because you'll just get hungry again, sooner than you intend to. With a fuel pull meal, you have to have less than 10 grams of carb and less than 5 grams of fat. And they give examples in the plan, and there are vast resources online that you can look at, that you can learn about the plan. There's Facebook groups there. You can even join the Trim Healthy Mama website. I think you even have an app now that you can use. There are all kinds of ways to help you succeed. And also in the plan, you need to try to eat no sooner than 2.5 hours between meals, and no more than, they say, 4. I've heard Pearl and Serene say that you can go, usually they said 3 to 4 hours, but you can go, if you're starving, 2.5, or if situations at work and things like that don't allow you to, then you can go as many as 5 hours. But if we go a lot longer than that, we're training our body to store what we have eaten. And that's exactly not what you want. And I know for years, I think, oh, I'm doing so well because I didn't eat hardly any breakfast and ate just a little bit of lunch. But boy, when I got home and I ate supper, it seems like I ate the rest of the evening. And those are things that we don't want to do. Okay. Also, you need to be prepared. And the book will tell you to start slowly, but use your time wisely. Sometimes people say, oh, well, I don't have time. Well, we all have the same amount of time in a day. And I know we all have responsibilities, but plan. Last night I was teaching online, and they had an exercise to do for 10 minutes. I had some laundry to fold. So while they were doing their exercise, I folded the laundry in 10 minutes. Try to make all your time count that you have, and you'll get a lot more done than you think you can. Okay, so those are some of my tips. But what I want to tell you also is, when you're being prepared, find some recipes that you like and that you can work on, and fix them 2 or 3 times until you get comfortable with them, because it is a different way of cooking. You cook with different ingredients. Sometimes you'll have special ingredients, sometimes you won't. But let me tell you some of my basics that I like to use. I am trying to keep on hand, and I will cook. I will make something, and I'll tell you a secret. I have it easy because my husband, he doesn't eat this way. You should see the grocery cart. It looks like it's from 2 different worlds. You have my stuff, and then you have his stuff. You'll see that when I do a grocery haul. He has the Little Debbie cakes, the popcorn, the chips, the sugary stuff, which doesn't bother him, but I can't eat that way. But one thing that those Little Debbie cakes and the little pies and stuff like that, doesn't tempt me, because, as my friend Karen in Texas says, there are so many tasty things that you can eat on the Trim Healthy Mama plan. But like I said, it takes planning. So one of the things that I like to use is, out of this book, their original book, I like to keep on hand the peanut popper chicken. Well, going back to, I got ahead of myself. Going back to with my husband, he's not home at supper time because he works in the afternoon. So what I do is I call it a big cauldron of something for the week, or a couple of choices, like he likes spaghetti or different things like that. So I have a plate ready for him when he gets home, and so I can cook what I need for me. But you can also, even if you have to cook a meal for your entire family, they can eat this way, and you can add other stuff to it. Or something that I think is a good idea to do is to make something like, okay, out of this book, I like the peanut popper chicken. Love it. Love to keep it on hand. It freezes well, but when you're making it, you have to put the peanut butter in the chicken and stuff. It's goopy, but it works out. But I have that, and then I freeze portions of it in a little zip top bag. And then when I want that for supper, I just take it out of the freezer, put it on a cookie sheet, and I put it in the toaster oven. And then while I'm taking my shower or doing something else, it's cooking, so that then it's ready. So find some recipes that you want. That's one of mine, and I didn't prep that this week, but I did use that this week out of the freezer. So that's one of these. A great one, and Brianna Thomas, go to her website. She has a lot of good things in hers. In her first cookbook, she has her Brianna's bread. It actually has a little yeast in it, and it has her baking blend. And you can also substitute the Trim Healthy Mama baking blend for that. And this is a game changer because you can have a sandwich on it. It's a fuel pull. You can make it into French toast. You can toast it and make garlic bread. But if you don't want to go dairy free, in the second the Trim Healthy Table Cookbook, I believe it was that one, they have the Wonder White blender bread, and you can make that. And that also, you can use that for, like I said, the French toast, the sandwiches, the garlic bread, your cheese bread, whatever, however you want to make that, to use that with it, or toast. You can make it into toast, and you can actually, on that one, since they're fuel pulls, you could put butter and you could put jelly and go make it be an E setting as well. And what I do is I don't cook them in the loaf pan like they show in the cookbooks. I saw, I believe it was Lindsay Murphy. She made them in a jelly roll pan. You put the parchment paper in there, and I do the same with Brianna's. And then I bake it in there, bake it about 20 minutes. Then I just cut it into, take it out on the parchment paper, and then I just slice it into 12 slices, and then I freeze part of it, and then I take it out as I need it. And that is a big help. It's a go-to that you can have. Something else that I like to make, and it's out of Brandon Thompson's book, and I did make that this week, is the poppy seed chicken, and I do the kind with that is the S, where it has sour cream in it, and you use the Wassa crisp light rye to make the topping on it. It is so good. You don't feel deprived at all when you're eating something like that. Also, um, out of the Trim Healthy Future book, I've been making the zucchini bread oatmeal, and it is delicious. And that you're getting zucchini at breakfast time with that, which you're getting your vegetables in. And like I said the other day, a lot of times your patterns are start with the first thing that you eat in the morning. It kind of sets your pattern for the day. And then there's another one cookbook, and she has a website also. It's called Around the Family Table. And in this book, she has these things called sour cherry oat bake. And it's an E, but it has cherries in it. And I like them so much. My friend made those for me for my birthday. And they're a quick go-to. You can make several of them, freeze them, and there you have, a breakfast with those. Also, and there's also in this cookbook, I believe it's her, and she makes what's called ginger juice. And on a future video, I'm going to make some of the ginger juice and show you how to do it, because on the Good Girl Moonshine that's in the Trim Healthy Mama books, it sometimes people don't like the ginger because it's so powdery and it gives you the little, when you drink it. But if you make the ginger juice and you freeze them into ice cubes, you have them in your freezer. And I found a recipe where it said it's like a fruit punch, Good Girl Moonshine. It is so good. It it tastes like Hawaiian punch. And if that's something you like, but I will show that in a beverage video that I'm going to do later. Um, well, and just kind of what I'm saying is make sure that you are planning and planning ahead, to where if you find something you like, make 2 batches of it. Feed one to your family this week, and then put some little ones back for you, because there's times when you don't eat with your family, or there's sometimes they are just going to eat pizza or something that you probably aren't supposed to eat. But I have good news for you, because there are pizzas that you can make with Trim Healthy Mama. And I'll do a pizza night, to where I'm going to show you how to make there's the Trim Healthy Mama cauliflower crust pizza. I've come up with a recipe of my own, because with not doing all that dairy, I can't have all that cheese in the crust. So I've found a cauliflower crust recipe. I've adapted one for me to use, and it's not so heavy. And also, if you think about it, if you're putting all that cheese in your crust, and then put cheese on the top of it. And I know we have food freedom in Trim Healthy Mama. You don't have to do all these restrictions. However, I'm not going to lose weight nearly as quickly or be as healthy if I pile on the calories, the cheese. And a lot of people, when they do keto, which keto is fine, but if you gotta, there's payday someday, you gotta think about these calories, because they do add up. They do add up. So, um, I'll be happy to share that with you. And I've given it to a few people, and it's really good. It's easy, but you still have to, steam your cauliflower and this and that. But we'll go through that on pizza night. But also something that I wanted you to think about with me this week. We wanted to talk about I have this little thing right here. It says, keep your ducks in a row. Well, this is by the bed in here. And one night when I went to bed, I knocked it over. And I was like, oh, well, I'll pick it up later. And so then the next morning when I picked it up, I set it up, which I thought I set it up correctly. And I looked at it, and it was like this. Can you see that? Let me see if you can see it. It was upside down. The next time I came in the room, it was upside down. I'm like, oh, for heaven's sakes. And sometimes do you feel that way? Do you feel like it's hard to keep your ducks in a row? I feel that way. And I think a lot of people, sometimes people may feel that way with THM, but you can get your ducks in a row. But it takes planning and it takes practice, and you won't get everything right. And, it'll be a process, but you'll be able to do that. And I was talking about the grocery cart that thing, and I wanted to show you. I did go to Dollar Tree today, and a few things I found that you can have there. I found these the Perrier. It's the lime. It's got bubbly water in it, but it has no fat, no sodium, no calories, and it's just got mineral water, carbon dioxide, and natural flavors. And so I got a few of those for me for a treat for pizza night. And one of the things about pizza night I was going to tell you, I have adapted a recipe for doughless pizza, and my husband loves it. And I think your family would too. And it is so easy. You can have it done 35, 40 minutes. And that's from browning your meat to baking the pizza as well. And I think it makes probably 12 good servings in it. And when you're doing it, double it. And my brother-in-law likes it so well, he made two for himself and froze one, and then had one to eat for the week when he got home from work. I also found this coconut oil spray. Um, it was $1. I did look on the back of it though, and it said that it does have a little soy in it. I didn't see soybean oil in it, and some soy lecithin. So I looked on the other one that I had, and it did have the soy lecithin as well. But I'm not. I'd have to look to try to find if there is coconut spray oil that doesn't have any of that in it. But for $1, and how much of that are you going to absorb when you spray it on your pan to make it not stick? I think it's okay. Sometimes I think we get a little too worried about all this stuff. I also found some of this unsweetened almond milk there, and $1. And I've been trying. I know, like Claire is talking about, she has her prepper pantry. We've developed a pantry in the basement, and when we had this last snowstorm there, I was talking about, my husband was talking to my brother-in-law, and he said, well, I'm going to have to call her, see if she needs anything. And he said, she could eat 3 months off that. You guys could eat 3 months off of that pantry in the basement. So that was good. But what I'm saying is, get once in a while, get these things when you can for $1, and it's shelf stable. Use the fresh almond milk and stuff you have now. And this says it will be good until September of 2021, the 4th of September 2021. So I've got a while, so I can have this on the shelf if I need it. And I do make an almond milk creamer, and we'll have a video about that. Some different things that I do with creamers and coffees, and we'll be doing that shortly too. Something else I wanted to talk about. We've talked about the times in between when you eat your meals. But something else I want to think about. Let's think about, have you been fed from God's word this week? And hopefully you've been able to either watch church, go to church, but have you fed yourself? Do you have a time that you have decided that is your time to take a meal from God's word, to be fed from his word? And I think you have to find ways that work for you. You have to say, if you're working and you have to have something quick to do in the morning before you go to work, or something before you get the kids or everybody up, a devotional. I know Leslie, on the Farming Pastor's Wife, she was talking about, have a devotional in the morning, and read that. Get your mind fixed on God at the beginning, and I've heard the preacher say, when you're driving, pray. On your way to work, pray on the way to work. Don't use all the time that you have, but then, there comes another time when you need to make sure that you're studying God's word, digging deep into it. But anytime you can get more of God's word into your life, the better you are. And I know that I was reading through the Bible with the Baptist bread, the devotional, and we're in the book of Leviticus, and talks, and the pastor says, try to imagine yourself in the Bible so that you can understand it more. And I a lot of times I have the Bible app, and I listen to it, and they do a lot of sacrificing in Leviticus. I'm not saying that's wrong. All of God's word is profitable, but it's like, I don't want to really imagine that I'm there when they're doing the sacrifices to the lambs and the rams and different things like that. And so I do the taxes for our farm. I don't do them. I get them ready for the accountant. And I'm gonna tell you a secret. A lot of people wouldn't think I would do this, but there are some things that you just do. And when we get a receipt, my husband gives it to me. and I put it in this fancy little basket. Then when the basket is full, I put them in some boxes. And so by the end of the year, I have to go through all those and file them and get them ready for the accountant. And it used to, I would just fuss and fume and it would not be a good day. And I thought, I felt convicted about that. I thought, because who would I be mad at? I'd be mad at my husband. But it's my job. That is what my part of the farming is. And I heard Leslie on the Farming Pastor's Wife a while back. She said, if we're ever going to have an intense moment of fellowship, it's going to be over tax day. And for the past couple of years, I figured out a little different system to where when I file them, on that big day, and I do it when my husband's not home, because if he's home, I'm going to be frustrated and I'm going to fuss at him, and I don't want to be that. I want to be someone he wants to come home to. I want to be someone that's his cheerleader and that he loves, and it's not somebody that's just griping at him because it's so hard to do the taxes that way. So getting back to the Bible reading, what I did this year when I had to, I was sorting out all the receipts. I turned the book of Leviticus on so that I could get it listened to for the Bible reading for the year. And so I did two things that I really didn't like at one time, so I could just get it over with. But you have to find out what works for you. But um, that's what I wanted to tell you about that. But make sure that you have time. What's your plan? What's your plan for THM? Get yourself ahead of the game. You know, and some people, they plan their menus. They plan everything what they're going to eat all week. I have kind of an idea. Like this week, I believe I'm going to make the turkey pot pie from the Trim Healthy Mama cookbook, and I'm also going to make the hubby loving chicken, but I'm not going to make it with thighs because I don't like thighs. And my daughter Hillary, she made it this week with chicken, white meat chicken breast, and she said just cook it less time, and it's very good. So just like the little thing here says, like have your have your ducks in a row. Think about, are your ducks in a row, or are they upside down? But don't think that I'm all, we on YouTube, we let you see what we want you to see. But I don't have it all together. Look, I still have the price tag on the back of my All Your Ducks in a Row. And I probably had it 2 or 3 months, but I thought, oh, the price tag's still on it. But try to take that off soon. But just make sure that your ducks are in a row, and slow down. Take time for yourself. But when you're slowing down, make sure that you make every minute count. But I would encourage you to make sure that you decide in your mind and your heart that you want to be healthier and this is what you want to do. And then get a plan together. If you need to brush up on the plan, if you need to find some resources, there are tons of them out there. So I just would encourage you to work on that until we talk again. And once again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I know time is valuable, and I hope I've given you a few good tips in there. And maybe in the comments below, you can tell us what do you plan and what do you prep, or what are you planning on doing this week to plan and prep. And remember, I'll be back on Weigh-In Wednesday, and I'll tell you what my progress has been. And I have had a little progress. Funny story about that. I told my husband, I said, I have lost blank amount of pounds because I don't want to tell you just yet. And he said, oh, that's good. He said, can I have these cookies over here? Or are they for the boys? So it's just maddening, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, sure, eat 4 or 5 chocolate chip cookies. Oh, my goodness. So thank you. And I hope that you have a blessed week, and we'll see you soon.